Yes, good morning, everyone. Earlier, we talked about different options. What is cloud? What are different cloud companies we have? What is Oracle Cloud? And what are different offerings we have in Oracle Cloud? And what is Fusion Applications, ERP software? And what is HCM, different modules? That's what we have discussed in our demo one. In this session, we are going to discuss the environment of Fusion applications and how we can go for configure the setups, how we can create our own implementation user. Then after implementing this implementation of the user, then how we can perform couple of setups and then how we can go for perform in this area transactions. That's what we are going to discuss. Okay, so first, whenever we enter into the applications, here we can find the moment when we enter the URL and enter the credentials, we'll find the two menus here. One is navigator menu left side. One is navigator menu in the left side. Another one is user menu in the right side. Another one is user menu in the right side. So user menu will have the option called setup and maintenance. This is what our environment where we will be performing all our functional setups, and also we will be maintaining all our setups information from here. We call this environment as FSM. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. So in Functional Setup Manager, we are going to perform all our functional setups. We are going to perform all our setups. Now this environment, we call it as FSM, stands for Functional Setup Manager. Functional Setup Manager. So whenever we join in the company and once you start your project, if they provide you the credentials, first thing what you have to do is you have to check whether you have the access to FSM environment or not. So what is the role is required for this? Application implementation consultant role is required. That we are going to see practically how it will work in the next another 5 minutes. Okay. So once we enter into this environment, as we discussed yesterday in our previous demo about ERP application is nothing but financials, human capital, supply chain management, like that. We can find all those offerings over here. We can find all these offerings over here: financials, human capital management, procurement, all this we can find. So here I am getting the list of offerings which are provided by Oracle. Same thing I can get it from here. Go to actions and go to offerings. Go to offerings. Now here we can find list of offerings. Offerings are nothing but a domains within the ERP application. Offerings are nothing but domains within the ERP application. Okay, let me open the Excel sheet what we have discussed in the previous demo session. We discussed in the previous session what is cloud, what are different cloud companies we have, what is Oracle Cloud, what are different tools and products are available in Oracle Cloud applications, what is Fusion Applications ERP software, and Fusion Applications, what is HCM, what are different modules we have, functional and technical roles and responsibilities. That's what we have discussed in the previous session. So now we are going to talk about human capital management offerings. Offerings are nothing but a domains. Within the offerings, we will find modules. Within the modules, we will find domains. Within the module, we'll find menus. Within the menu, we'll find the pages or forms. We'll find. In Fusion applications, this domains we call it as offerings. We call it as offerings. Modules we'll call it as features. Modules, we call it as features. Menus is nothing but a task list. And pages, this we call it as task. We call it as task. One task is nothing but one page. Whenever we group some tasks, it will become as a task list. When we group some task lists, we call it as feature, one feature. When we are going to combine the features, it will become as offerings. It will become as offerings over here it is. Okay, so these are the different naming conventions we will be using in Fusion applications. Once we enter into these applications, I could see that financials is here, supply chain management is here, marketing is here, order management is here, and procurement, product management, nothing but inventory. And then we will find public sectors, government, municipality or legal authorities. And we will find supply chain, student management. If there are any clients who are doing in the education business, who are going to perform other activities here, we will find educational level to manage all this information. This. Then where is the HCM? I could not find human capital management, right? So here in the human capital management, whenever you combine this workforce deployment, workforce development, and whenever you go to this compensation management, when you combine all these three offerings, we call it as HCM, human capital management. So offerings, what are that? Three: compensation management, workforce deployment, and workforce development. Whenever we combine all these three offerings, we call it as human capital management. Okay. So here, deployment, development, workforce means employees. Workforce means employees. Deployment, development. Deployment means establishing the organization structure and workforce structure. This all will do it. Development is nothing but we are going to maintain the workforce development information, nothing but employees performance details, goals assignment, employees talent, career development, employee profiles details. This is all we are going to capture here, development. And when it comes for compensation management, where we are going to maintain employee compensation details as well as the benefits information that we are going to maintain over here. So what are the offerings we are going to have in human capital management? We are going to have HCM, nothing but three offerings. Workforce development, workforce deployments, compensation management. Compensation management. Human capital management means these are the three offerings. Every offering is going to have the modules. We are going to have the modules over here. We are going to have the modules over here. Okay. So if at all we want to know whether client has subscribed, whether the client has subscribed for those offerings or not. For example, if we click on this, here we'll come to know what is the offering name and what is the status, whether your client is subscribed or not. This is the instance over here. And if we click on this offering, then we'll come to know that here status. We'll come to know the status here and we'll find corresponding documents over here. We'll find corresponding documents over Here it is. This is how it will work. Okay. So this is just an area where we can just find out what are the different offerings are available in Fusion applications. Then what are the offerings our client is subscribed. Our client is subscribed. The same information we can also find from here. It is a list. Okay. So if financial functional consultant wants to perform some setups, he'll go to financials. He'll go to financials. In that, he'll go for select the module, payables module, cash management module, tax module, expense module, assets module, receivables module, and you'll go for perform all the setups. Same thing. If at all we want to do some setups in human capital management, what do? We go for workforce deployment. In workforce deployment, we'll choose starting the module, like you want to do the payroll module, setups or benefits module, options management, scheduling module, elements and formulas module. This all we are going to perform here. So all these things will be specified over here. Okay. So this is about the offerings here. This is about the offerings here. And whenever we start any project, we'll find one implementation project here. First implementation project will be created. So what is implementation project? It's a standard question in the interviews. Implementation project is a group of offerings which we are going to implement for our client. It's a group of offerings or group of modules which we are going to implement for our client. Okay. Once we create an implementation project and do some setups and test those setups, everything is working fine in the development instance. Then we have to go for migrate all our setups from development to testing instance. In the testing instance, again, we have to test all our setups and application, everything. Then we have to migrate these setups from testing to production environment. We will have minimum 3 instances when we are working in the projects real time: development instance, testing instance, and production instance. So what is the option we will use? Manage, export, and import process. Manage, export, and import process. So by using this, we are going to export all our setups from one instance, and also we are going to import all this setups into another instance. Setups into another instance over here. Okay, that's the process we'll be doing. So once we do that, in case if at all we want to delete all those export and import processes, not the setups, whatever the processes we have executed, processes are nothing but a programs. We just wanted to go for remove those processes. Okay. So in that scenario, we will use these options here. Now, this is what we are going to create now, implementation project. As we discussed, implementation project is a group of modules which we are going to implement for our client. Okay. So here we can see number of implementation projects. Generally, when we are working in the projects real time, we don't find these many implementation projects. We will just find only one implementation project. Who will create this implementation project? And the projects, generally project manager or project leader is going to create implementation project. I'm going to choose that we are implementing this for heritage HCM, just name of the project. We wanted to complete this project in another 6 months. Another 6 months, we wanted to go for complete this particular implementation project. Click next button. Now, system is asking what are the offerings you would like to implement for your client. choose the offerings, whatever you want to implement. Let's say I would like to go for implement only two modules for my client right now. One is global HR, another one is payroll module. Client is interested to go for two modules, global HR and payroll. What is the purpose of these two modules? Global HR module is the base module where the client is going to maintain their organization hierarchy, workforce structure hierarchy, employees data, complete. We'll find in the first module. Then what is payroll module? To calculate the employee salaries and distribute those salaries to the employees. All those setups will perform it in the payroll module. These two we want to implement for the client. Go down here. As I said, compensation management and workforce deployment and workforce development. These are the three offerings we have. These are the three offerings we have. When we combine all these three offerings, we call it as human capital management. Okay. So here, whenever we go for workforce deployment, check this checkbox here. We can find the module, payroll module, options management module, time and labor module, individual compensation module. What modules you want to implement? Global HR we don't find because that's a default module automatically included in your implementation project. So that we don't need to go for login or select anywhere. We can directly go for any other modules. By default, it will be selected. By default, it will be selected in the global HR module. Okay. So I could see that here, payroll module. I'm going to select the payroll module here. I'm going to select payroll module here. Then save and close the project. We'll see how we can log out and log in. So that will be clear with the application navigations part. Just 1 minute, please. Now click done button. Let me just log out and log in. Once we log into the applications here, go to user menu, setup and maintenance, and then we'll find our implementation project here. Once we go to setup and maintenance, we'll enter into the FSM environment, functional setup manager, go to task list here and choose manage implementation project. Here we can choose our HCM project and we can find this is our implementation project. In implementation project, I could see that our global HR and payroll, two modules we have selected. This is about global HR module. This is about our payroll module. By default, in human capital management, we'll find security. Security is common for any module, data access and security. And extensions for workforce deployment. Extensions are nothing but some customizations. If at all you want to go for customize the product, it can be done. Okay. So how many modules we have selected for implementation? Two modules, global HR and payroll. When you work for any client in the world, global HR is the default module. Without global HR, we cannot implement any other modules because if you don't implement a global HR module, there is no organization hierarchy. It means your company hierarchy is not designed. It means what is the head office, what is the legal office, what are the branch offices, what are the departments, and what are the jobs, positions, grades, locations, and also the employees. If you maintain all this information, then you can run the payroll for those employees. You can run the options plans for those employees. You can run the benefits plans to those employees. You can calculate the compensation for those employees. You can run the talent management for those employees, right? So that's why global HR is the base module, which is required for every client. That's why in every project we'll find global HR module. These two setups will perform global HR implementation setups. Okay. So now the implementation project is created by the manager. So as we discussed, what is implementation project? It's a group of offerings or modules which we are implementing for our client. Okay. Now what manager is going to do is going to assign the task to the employees. Okay. So let's say he's going to assign, manager is assigning, let's say there are 3 functional consultant in the team, and manager saying that let's do the payroll legislation setups by X consultant, payroll setups by Y consultant, and element setups must be done by Z consultant. Okay, go to payroll legislations, assign these tasks. We'll choose the button called assign the tasks, and we'll choose employees information here. Manager is going to assign all these tasks to the employees here. Same thing, I'm going to assign the payroll setups. So manager is going to assign this options over here. It is. So manager is going to assign these tasks should be done by so and so employee. So this is all happened within the ITT. So as a manager is going to create implementation project, he'll be assigning these setups to employees so that employees will start working on that. Okay. So, and manager can monitor what is the project status. What is the project status? Let's go for here. This is our project, right? So don't click on the project, just select this line. There is a button here, overview. You have to use this button. We'll be using this button. Here it is. So this button is going to show that information, whatever we have. Here I can find the complete project status. Here I can find complete project status. What is our project? Heritage HCM project. Just select. Now what system is showing? Total 239 setups we have to do it for both the modules. Out of that, 63 setups has been assigned to our team members so that they can start working on that. And here assignment status by task list, nothing but a menu wise. What are the setups we have assigned for our employees? Resource status. Resource means our team members. For this employee, I have assigned 61 setups. And for this employee, only 2 setups I have assigned. In the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we can find entire analysis. Sorry, excuse me. Here, assignment details can be done. So like this, the managers can track the project status here. And the moment when employees start working on that, for example, employees are going to perform some tasks here. So once the task has been completed here, they'll go for update. How the employees will update? There is a button called edit status. And they'll be updating like this. If there are any history is there, that they'll go for monitor here. And comments, let's say in progress. completed like this, it will be done. Here we can find the updated status. Now, what is the project status? Couple of setups has been completed. And if we choose this click button overview and select our implementation project, and we can see the assignment details with the status which has been completed. So these are the 2 tasks are completed so far, completed by so on. So what Oracle says, generally when IT projects are going on, to maintain the IT project status, we used to have Excel sheet, or we used to have some other third-party tools. We used to maintain Jira tool or any other tools, project management tools we used to have. So instead of that, that entire operations, you can do it in Fusion applications itself. You don't need to use any third-party tool to manage your project information. This is just to manage. Okay, we are implementing 2 modules for our client. Okay, first module, how many setups? 120 setups. Second module, 200 setups. Total 320 setups. We have to perform. How many people we have? We are 3 members. Okay, take this setups you and start doing that. Take another setups you. Like that, manager can manage entire project information right from here, and he can assign this task to the team members. Then the moment when the team members log in, they can verify what tasks they have got it, and they will start working on that. So this is just to manage the project information. This is not actual subject. This is not actual HCM, human capital management. This is common. This is common to manage your project. It may be a finance project or HCM or supply chain management. Just to manage the entire project status, we are going to have these options here. Okay. So here we will be creating the implementation project and assign this task to the team members. The moment when they log into the applications, they'll be able to see those tasks and perform those tasks and update the status of that particular tasks, so that the manager will come to know, okay, so today 10 tasks has been completed. Out of that, 1 task is completed with errors, 9 is completed with success. And what is the error? Then they will be communicating entire history. Communication will happen within the application, so that it will be helpful for future level. In case if any support team is there or any other teams involved in the project, they can easily understand. So that's the purpose of implementation project. Okay. So this will be created by the project manager and it will be assigned to us. That's the first topic in our FSM environment. Okay. Any doubts here? Whatever we have discussed. So we discussed about what is offerings. We talked about offerings and we talked about modules. We talked about implementation project. And then we talked about assigning the task. Any doubts here, please?
Yeah.
So, sir,
please go ahead.
So in the HCM, let's say this global HR is the base for everything. That's what you said, right?
Yes, yes.
So payroll or any other benefits, like any other modules, everybody or like the HCM analyst should have this global HR knowledge completely.
Yeah, knowledge, not only knowledge, expert.
Okay.
We must be expert, then only we will be able to implement that in payroll. For example, when you are running the payroll and you are trying to attach one allowance element to the employee name is not visible. So you are supposed to drag why this employee is not eligible for this particular element. Whether this employee is maybe while creating that element, you might have defined this is only for call center department, not for all employees. Then we have to go back and verify whether this employee is working for call center department or not. If he is working, currently is active in that department or not. Like that, we must be expert in the global HR.
Okay, got it. So what about this core HR? Like
Both are
everything comes
same.
under.
Core HR, global HR, GHR, all are same.
Okay, okay. So it's
Yes.
just a different name they call.
Yes, yes. Yes.
All
Any
right.
other doubts?
So in this course, like we will completely finish global.
Yes, yes. We are going to learn global HR, payroll, options management, talent management, end-to-end functional setups we are going to learn.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yes, Rupesh, go ahead.
Mhm.
Thank
Like
you, sir.
we are creating the project, right? Like let's say, okay. So in this
Implementation
project,
project.
yeah, in this project, let's say I have a big bang of like we are going to implement for 5 different entities in a different locations. So the core globalization or the core HR, or I can say the global HR process is different, and they have got their own localization concept, right? So if I want to fit the task, okay, I need to split one as a global project, other one as a localization. How we can differentiate and allocate this?
Localization, generally in human capital management, localization comes like payroll and all will be choosing the legislation. For
Okay,
global HR point of view, we don't find any separate options. We can configure those setups within that only.
okay,
In global HR, for example, our client is India client. Client says that I have complete business in India only.
mhm,
So we will configure the organization hierarchy and workforce hierarchy as well as the employee setups. This all will happen within this India only. We don't find any localization point of view from global HR. But when we talk about the payroll,
mhm,
because the payroll statutory rules and regulations are different from country to another country. In India, if I want to pay the salary to the employee, I have to follow Indian government rules. We will find, right? So there will be some rules and regulations for the workers. So that I am supposed to follow. Same thing, if we are implementing the payroll for US client, then we are supposed to follow US taxes and rules, US deductions, calculation codes, and US statutory rules we have to follow, right? Same thing for UK or Europe or other countries. So there we will find the globalization. But most of the times, global payroll is there. Global payroll, maximum it will be satisfied. I think recently Oracle has introduced India payroll also for Indian clients separate. But even global payroll is satisfying our Indian clients. In fact, ICICI Bank has started using this HCM to maintain their 45,000 employees information right from 2016. They have implemented successfully. They are using. So localization part that not that much is required here. If needed, we will go for doing that.
okay. Because like if I take example of US has got more onto this disability sort of records maintaining, where we in India we don't have that particular thing. So we have got that particular thing under the core HR, or the what I can say the HR information. So if such kind of any requirement is there, how we can segregate? And my question is like, we can add any like in the project implementation only we are able to select the standard tasks which are available in Oracle. If we want to include our own customized tasks, so can we add that into the project list and can be monitored by a specific entity?
Yeah, yeah. That's what. It's depends on the localization. We'll be discussing mainly US payroll, and
Okay.
there will be a slightly changes over there, and will be performed.
Okay, okay. So far what I understand is like whatever the offerings task list which are available, that is available for creating a project implementation, but we cannot add our own like the customize on into the project planning or something like that. So is
Yeah.
that possible?
Yes, yes. We are going to perform that.
Okay, thank you.
Sir,
Yes,
as
please.
part, yeah, as part of creating implementation project, we just made use of workforce development, right? But we haven't used workforce deployment and compensation
If we
management.
need those modules, again we have to use. For example, after implementing these two modules successfully, client says that, yes, I wanted to go for compensation management. So two modules we are okay, setups has done, tested, and our employees are able to perform all the transactions. Now we wanted to go for add this here. Now we wanted to go for add the different task lists, menus or offerings. So let's say we want to go for add compensation management. Go to this compensation management, click done button.
So HCM is actually combination of all these three, right?
Yes,
So
all
they,
this.
so if they are implementing HCM, they have to go for these three, right?
No, not required. See, as I said, total 8 modules we have in human capital management. A client can say, I need only global HR and payroll. To
Okay.
manage my employee leaves, I have another third-party tool. So I don't want to disturb that. I wanted to go with only global HR and payroll in cloud, in Fusion applications. Let's see, I'll use these two modules for 2 years. And if I feel comfortable and satisfied, okay, next modules I'll go for subscribe later. So it depends on the client requirement. They can go for subscribe, whatever the modules they require. It doesn't mean that they should buy the entire suite, entire HCM suite for implementation. It's up to the client. Whatever modules they require, they will go for. But basic modules, whatever is required, they'll go for. Let's say I worked with two clients who has implemented only global HR and options management. They have 8,000 employees. To maintain those 8,000 employees, they use global HR module. And after that, to maintain the leaves, they go with options. That is, I implemented for Qatar client. The client is oil-based company. It's there in Qatar established. Only these two modules we implemented.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused with this. You are highlighting those points. No, under 100%, you have this global HR, payroll, absence,
This
talent.
is yesterday class on our
Yes,
training.
yes. How it is
That is,
different from them to workforce development and workforce deployment and compensation management. So those are
these modules only you are going to segregate and keep it under these names.
okay, got it.
When you go for workforce development, we will find. Let me open one image. There is one image here. Everybody can easily understand. 1 minute. If we look at here, we have 3 offerings: workforce deployment, workforce development, compensation management. So if we combine all these 3 offerings, that is a human capital management, HCM suite. There are some span business process, nothing but common topics, even if client is not subscribed. Subscription means license. Generally in on-premises, we call it as licensed. When we are working in the cloud environment, we call it as subscription cost. Okay, so span business process means those are common things available automatically irrespective of your subscriptions. In workforce deployment, what are the modules we'll find? Global HR module and payroll module, time and labor, options management, workforce management and productions. This is just to managing modules. Development means talent review, performance management, goal management, success and management. Compensation management is nothing but compensation, benefits, incentive compensation, and total compensation statement. So that we are going to find out here. Okay. So in our training, we are going to learn global HR module. We are going to learn global HR module and then payroll module, then options management module. Then options management module, we are going to learn talent review, performance management, goal management, success and management, fast formulas, profile management, workforce directory management. Meanwhile, we'll get workforce management also, predictions also. Predictions is nothing but forecasting. This is all we are going to learn. What we left is only 3 modules we are left. What are those 3? Compensation module, benefits module, time and labor module. Because these 3 are advanced modules. We cannot understand unless and until we are having very good knowledge in this. And most of the requirements will be getting in this module. Very rare case, we will get time and labor benefits and compensation. Even if we get, they will expect at least 6-7 years minimum. It means the senior level functional consultants will be involving in these 3 modules. So generally, how the HCM career will start is, we'll start with global HR, payroll, options, talent, like that. After working couple of years, then we'll try to increase our skills in human capital management. We'll go with learning OTL, compensation, and benefits, other modules. That's how it will work. Okay. So is clear, everybody here? Excuse me.
Yes.
So any other doubts here? Fine, guys. We have seen that implementation project, how we can go for create. Now I'm going to show you how to create our own credentials, how we can create our own username and password. So we are in the FSM environment. When we go for user menu, and setup and maintenance is nothing but FSM, functional setup manager. Now we are going to enter into the security console, navigator, tools menu, security console. So security console is an environment where we will be able to manage all our users and roles information. When I say manage, create, update, delete, all the operations can be performed from here. User management, role management, and user and role categories, API authentication, administration, these all things we can go for perform. Okay. When we go for users tab here, I could see that you add user account. So I'm going to mention the user account here. March 3, third user, password, reset the password, save and close. What we have done here, we just created one user account. But for this user, we have not provided any role access. For this user account, we have not provided any role access here. So search for this username and we are able to find information here. This is the user account, which is active status here. And we'll find this user account over here. Okay. So without roles also, user can access application, but you will not be able to perform any other actions. Let's see. I'll just show you. I'm trying to get logout from current user. Whatever the new user we have created, we are trying to log in at March 3rd and this login here. See, March 3rd user has logged into the application, but he is not able to do anything. So you'll not be able to perform any activity from the navigator. Some basic static information about the company and other things we'll find here. And user menu also will not be having access to doing any customization, setups, and other options. Let's log out from here and log into the applications through admin. So when we are working with the applications, roles are very important. The roles are very important. These roles are going to be assigned. Log into the applications. So this vision applications is role-based access control, RBAC, role-based access control. Whenever we are working with the application, we are supposed to have the access to the roles. Okay. For every module, there will be 2 to 3 roles. We have to have the complete idea about those roles, and we are supposed to add those roles to the users and perform the activities. Okay. So here we are supposed to create a new roles, depends on the requirement. We are supposed to define the securities. Security is one of the very important topics, and we'll be discussing in depth of that. It's a common for all the modules. We'll be discussing that roles, security profiles, providing the trees, hierarchies, approvals. This is all we are going to discuss. Okay. So let's go to this user. I'm going to assign two roles which are very important and mandatory for us. One is IT security manager. This is to access the security console. This permission we are giving to the user. Another one is application implementation consultant. Application implementation consultant role. These two roles we call it as implementation roles. These two roles we call it as implementation roles, which we will be using to implement the product for the client. So I have assigned for this user. Let's see whether those roles has been applied for the user or not. Let's log out from here. This is our environment. So where we are able to access the application. I wanted to test whether those two roles has been applied for the user or not. When you go to user menu, you are getting the setup and maintenance. Earlier it was not available. Now we got it. Because which role? Application implementation consultant role. And where is security console? We added the role called IT security manager. Because of that, we'll get from tools menu, this environment, security console. This Marchit 3 user is able to access the security console and as well as this options here, setup and maintenance here, setup and maintenance over here. Okay, so these are the two roles we call it as implementation roles. We have a lot of other roles like there are 4 different types of roles. We have abstract role, duty role, job role, and data roles. We are supposed to create a new roles. We are supposed to customize existing roles, and we are supposed to synchronize the securities for these particular roles. For that, we will use security profiles. This all we are going to perform in our training. It's mandatory as a functional consultant. It's our responsibility to work with the roles, creating the roles, customization of the roles. These all role categories, privileges, function security, data security policies. This all we are supposed to perform. Okay, we'll discuss that later when we are working in our training. Okay, so this is about how we can create our own credentials, and then how we can go for add our implementation roles to the users. Implementation roles to the users here. Okay, so any doubts here? Configuring our own credentials and all. Whenever we give the credentials, you are supposed to create your own credentials and add implementation rules so that you can start doing the setups. Yeah, you can create your own implementation project and start doing the setups and test those setups, implementation, all this. Okay. Yes. Any doubts here?
So you said like manager will create the project implementation and he will assign the modules to the employees, like
Yes.
functional consultant. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So whether the functional consultant will meet the client and they'll get the requirements, and or else the manager will get the requirement and he will create the project and
No,
allocate
see,
the.
I'll tell you. So sometimes what happened, the project will be created by the manager and he will be assigning the task to the functional consultant, and functional consultant is supposed to interact with the business users corresponding those particular tasks. For example, I'm working as a team member. My manager has assigned this base pay setups to me. Okay, so make sure that I am the master in that area. I'm expert in that base pay configuration area. Obviously, I need to prepare a questionnaire for with me, because I need to ask the questions my client, right? And then go for prepare a documentation and start doing the setups. Okay, so here manager, before he assign the task to us, he will ask us, let's say in global HR, are you okay with approval management? Yeah, I'm okay. I can configure. I'll contract with the client and go for that. So whenever approval management is assigned for me, then I'll gather the requirement related for approval management from the client, and I'll go for start doing the setups and deliver this. That is one method. Another method is, already the on-site functional team has gathered the requirement. They'll go for directly assign the task to us. So whatever the requirement gathering document like BR100 or any other requirement design document, those will be assigned to us. Then we'll start working on this environment. So there are two options. Either they have already gathered the requirement, or we are supposed to gather the requirement. Two things will do it.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
One small.
Please go ahead.
I
Please
didn't
go
get
ahead.
the roles. Roles means like just for titles for that consultants or.
Role is nothing but access to the application. See, Fusion applications is having all the features. For example, you can hire employee, transfer employee, terminate employee, reverse termination employee, rehiring employee. All the features are there in the application. But client is telling, when the recruiter login, he should access only hire employee. He will not have any rights to transfer an employee, termination employee, or other. He has to just hire an employee. So what we have to do, we need to create one role. What that role will do, that role will give the permission in the application just for hiring an employee. Only the task can be performed. We cannot perform any other tasks over here. It is okay. So that's how we can do that.
Okay, and what about see? Every time we have to create for user, or else like one user ID. That is.
One user ID is fine. See, one user ID is fine to perform all our functional setups and do the testing and deliver to the client. Once we deliver to the client will go for create their own employees. For example, client is telling that, let's say your client is Heritage Foods Retail Private Limited and India. They have around 22,000 employees. Out of that, 5,000 employees are IT employees. Means they use the IT software and manage their entire day-to-day business transactions. Out of 5,000, again, there are only 1,500 employees who are going to use the Fusion application to maintain the employees' data. So this 1,500 employees are required username and passwords to log into the Fusion applications and enter day-to-day transactions. Okay, but in that application, we'll maintain all 22,000 employees' information. So that client is going to create according to their requirement.
Okay, so 1,500 employees, for each one, they have different roles. Is it right now?
Yes, yes. Some users will have group of roles. For example, all recruiters are required same, right? All salespersons are required same roles. So we will be going to create a role and associate this role with the particular one. Like we are going to assign this particular role to the group of users. We can categorize these roles according to the requirement.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes, please.
I'm sorry to take you back, but is there any way we will have access to the audio?
OTL.
So, yes, this lecture that this teaching, can we have access to it?
We will be able to provide the software for practice, but OTL module is not in our syllabus actually.
No, like you are saying now, everything you have said, is there any way we can go and find it again so we can listen again to this lecture?
Yes, yes. If you want to implement the OTL module attached to the user, what you have to do is you can go for add. Where is that? It is which module? OTL, it comes to workforce development.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, deployment. Select deployment. And where is time and labor here? Select time and labor. This is mainly for timesheet entry for the employees. And we can find all the tasks which we are supposed to perform in the time and labor. This all things can be performed from here.
Okay.
Module wise, we can do that. This is for payroll module. This is for benefits module. This is for basic management, workforce management module, and global HR comes all this enterprise, legal, organization, workforce, user security, workforce. This all comes under global HR first, basics.
Okay. I kind of need help. If we close this, when we are done here, is there any way we can go and hear you, or will we be able to have access to listen again to what you are saying now?
He's asking about recording.
Yes. Yeah, it is there. You can go for our YouTube channel. In our YouTube
Okay.
channel, you have to go to the YouTube and search for RTL online trainings. You can subscribe
Okay.
for our RTL online training to get the latest updates. This is our previous demo, what we have discussed. You can go through,
Okay.
and what we are going to talk right now, it will be there in another couple of hours. We will be uploading
Okay.
here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Small doubt.
Yes.
So as you said, the roles should be configured for each and every category. So my understanding, whether should I understand like the implementation done before categorizing the role, or after the implementation we need to categorize the role?
No, no. In the implementation itself, we are going to configuring the roles, and
So the first step of
after that, in support environment, also sometimes client wants to have the new role. Then we are supposed to create. In the implementation itself, client will have the complete details, like what roles they want and who are the users would like to go for access that. This all we will maintain here.
so as per the role we will implement the application, right?
No. First, we will go for doing all the setups
Yeah,
and make
that's
the
what my
application is 100% perfect. Once the application is configured as per the client requirement, then who will use this application? Client employees. Client HR department will start using the application. In the HR department, they have 500 employees. Recruiters are there, HR manager is there, analyst is there. Okay. So when they log in, they should not access each and every task, right? So depends on the employee job or depends on the employee position, they should access only that particular functional area. Okay. So manager can go for termination an employee, and also he can go for reverse termination. But employee should not do that, right? Recruiter should not go for termination. So here we are going to create separate roles for recruiters, separate roles for HR managers, separate roles for senior HR managers and HR analyst. Like that, different roles will be there in every organization according to their requirement. That we will discuss with the clients and will configure.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sir, now will we do the enterprise configuration?
Tomorrow, in our third demo, tomorrow will be our third demo, and it's going to be our last demo session. We'll be discussing enterprise hierarchy. From day after tomorrow onwards, regular sessions will be started for the people who has been enrolled for the course.
Sure.
Yes,
Question.
please.
So first, for core HR, we have certifications as well, sir, right?
Yes, for every module, certification is there.
So if we finish this course, let's say our core HR, like now you only teach us core HR, right? For base level.
No, we are going for expert level.
Okay. So
Every module will go to expert level. All 4 modules.
Got it. So can we go ahead with the sign up for the certification if we are joining this course?
Yeah, after completion of that, you can go for clear the certifications yourself and many people has cleared their own certifications.
Okay. How
Yes.
long will it take only for core HR, sir?
Core HR takes, I think, 20 days, 20.
For us, 20 days. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So next payroll, absent management, everything has certification again.
Yeah, yeah. After completion of this course, you can go for certifications for every module. I think it's around 20,000 rupees for every module Oracle will charge for
Oh,
certification, including GST and all. You need to check
okay.
in Oracle. I have prepared one video for that. How to find out what are the certifications.
Okay.
Just search RTL online training certifications. Yes, Oracle Fusion Cloud. There are some free certifications for basic and other certification details. I have
Okay.
made one video you can go through to find out the details. I think around 20,000 including GST for
Okay.
module, for every module.
Okay.
But in India, when we are applying, I don't think so. We need certification. Generally, in on-site, they'll be preferring not much. In India, generally certifications, generally in the recruiters or in the interviews, they won't expect much.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Let's see you. Thanks for your time which you have spent with me on second day. We'll see you on tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last demo session on the same time, same meeting ID. Tomorrow I'll go for explaining the complete enterprise structure and detailed syllabus copy. We are going to discuss each and every task, what we are going to do in every module. And after that, we'll go for complete the demo sessions. 3 demo sessions we are going to complete tomorrow. And day after tomorrow onwards, we are going to have the regular sessions with the different meeting ID for enrollments consultants. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Good day.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.